And is housing truly back to normal? Well, now it can be a hedge against inflation. Well, let's look at the ratios. Home sales in relation to the total jobs is back to historical average. Number of home sales versus number of people with jobs, back to historical normal. Home price to income ratio, back to historical normal. If anything, slight overcorrection, modestly overcorrection in the home values. Home price in relation to the rent, starting from 1980. This is implying that now the rents index is slightly higher than home prices, this index, from 1980. Again, if anything, home values are slightly overcorrected. Home price in relation to the construction costs. Well, prices have fallen below the construction cost index, meaning that you want to build the same home, buy the bricks, buy the copper pipes and everything, it's going to be more than buying the currently existing one. So given all this ratio, it's implying that prices are now back to normal. So the prices would not need to fall from this point onward, but it can still fall. If people cannot enter the market, overly stringent condition, inventory bills, the only way to unload the properties, you have to reduce prices. So certainly prices can overcorrect. But at least the historical ratio would say there's no need for prices to fall. And given that maybe the bottom has already occurred and it's just a matter of a steady increase, but I think that any increase will be very moderate, especially with the memory of the recent boom and bust that is in many people's mind. Forecast. The forecast is moderate expansion. And I would say this is probably lower end of the projections. Many people are actually calling for 4%, 5% GDP growth later this year just because businesses have incentive to spend money this year, the tax incentive to spend money this year. But assuming my forecast is more closer, which is moderate growth, we are looking at 1.5 to 2 million job creation, not 3 to 4 million job creation. Unemployment rate, I think it's going to hang around close to 9%. I'm actually surprised that the unemployment rate actually falling in recently. Because even though you have job creation, you have so many people underemployed, unemployed, and based on that, the unemployment rate should not be falling, but statistically somehow it is beginning to fall. But I think it will not greatly fall. It will hang around at around 9%. And normal unemployment condition only be about 4 years from now. It's certainly well after any presidential election. Housing market outlook is mortgage rate, anyone getting under 5% is bonus rates. All the pressure are for higher mortgage rates, high budget deficit, printing of the money, higher consumer price inflation. So if anything, it's going to be higher mortgage rates trending up. But as anyone who has been in the industry for 10 years or longer knows, even 6% mortgage rate, those are great bargain deals to deal with. So anything under 5%, those were pure bonus rate that people picked up. Home values, I don't think there will be any meaningful change nationwide, even though some market may begin to see some increases. And one of those some market could be Orange County just because of lack of new home construction. So you have the buyers returning, you soak up the existing inventory, but the new home inventory is not there. You may actually begin to see. So Orange County could be a candidate for those some market that see price increases. Home sales, I think broadly speaking, affordability conditions are just too compelling. And I mentioned about the rent increases, inflation hedge, so I don't think it could decline any further from this point. So far this year is matching up with last year's tax credit induced sales. Second half of this year will be much better than second half of last year, surely. So I think as a year as a whole, it will be much higher sale this year compared to last year. And so from the policy discussion, mortgage interest deduction, again, budget deficit, so they're looking at this issue. If the mortgage interest deduction is fully removed, no longer available, it will be about 15% price hit. So people who have been building equity, paying down principal, suddenly say, you have to take a 15% hit on your home values. And whether or not that is fair, or changing the rules in the middle of the game, people will bought a home knowing their mortgage interest deduction would be in place. FHA program, government-backed mortgage program, always self-financing, never ask a single dime of taxpayers' money in a 70-year history. They collect premiums, mortgage default, they use the premiums to pay all the defaulting loans. They did some stress test analysis. Outside auditor, they said FHA will not need taxpayer money for at least 5 years, even possibly 10 or longer time span. If prices recover, I mean, it could be the same situation. For 70 years, it never requested a taxpayer's money. So it may continue to